Hello and welcome to EV Car Share. Another day and another journey. This time off to St Helens again. So back to St Helens. It's one I've done before. Last time I went across the country. I cut through Melton Mowbray, Oakham, kind of Stoke, Derby, Uttox to that sort of direction. A50 all the way to the M6. Then obviously there's no other option apart from M6 up then to St Helens. This time that's like the kind of smallest mileage, most direct, most economic route. And I was able to get there and back without having to charge. It took 97% of the battery of the EV6. It was 293 miles, so I went from 100% down to 3% on that particular route. So this time I'm going to try the other kind of opposite route, let's say. So I'm going down to the A14, join the M6 at its lowest point near Birmingham, and then all the way around on the M6. This is like the dual carriageway, motorway, all the way sort of route instead. The more indirect route round, it's one that Google suggests if you normally, depending on traffic of course, but it's one that Google, and in fact my sat nav at the moment, is suggesting as the fastest route. So what I did before I would say was most economic route. This time I'm doing the fastest route, and we'll see the difference. So that's the plan, and I'm on the edge of Peterborough right now, so I think let's get this show on the road. Okay, so as I say, we're just on the edge of Peterborough right now in a lay-by, and let's get into the traffic. Perfect. So the way the sat-nav is taking me is just up a junction of the A1 first of all, to join the A605, and then we'll take the A605 down to the A14. So that'll be the only bit that isn't motorway-ish, or yeah, motorway-ish, or dual carriageway. I could go down to my left on the A1M to the A14 and stick it as all motorway, but that's not what Google suggests is the fastest route. So I'm really wanting to take what's described as the fastest route today, because that's the point of this. That's the challenge. I'm also wanting to drive quickly, so I'm looking at not trying to hypermile or save any fuel. Be 70 on the motorways, 70 on the dual carriageways, so maximum speed limit for the UK. That's in miles per hour, of course, not kilometers per hour. That would be very slow. I do think kilometers per hour would be much better. I'm an advocate for switching over, joining the rest of the sensible world in using kilometers per hour, but I think I'm a minority. I think there's a lot of people who would be very much against switching our units on the motorway or on the road systems. If that was something that came up as a manifesto for a party at election time, I don't think that would go down too well. Because, yeah, as I say, I think I'm in a minority. But there you go. So let's drive this one for a bit. Okay, coming down towards the end of the A14 and there's a bit of traffic. Some quite big looking wind turbines as well. Onshore wind powering our grid. All of them spinning quite nicely, even though it's not particularly windy today. Very good. I have in my sat-nav programmed, or favorited, let's say, the charge points at Rugby services bottom of the M6. It's one of the newer services. There's quite a lot of charge points there, so it's of interest to me. They have grid serve. There are 12, and currently there are 5 available. So I'm going to pop in there. I'm going to do a stop and grab a coffee. I don't need to charge. I'll get there with about 80% according to the car. But I'm interested to see how many of those charge points are actually available. And also, of course, will it stay 5 as it says on my sat-nav, or will it become 3 or 2 or 1 before I get there? Who knows? So it'll be interesting to see if my sat-nav actually correlates to what's the actual situation on the ground with regard to charging, which is something that I like to have a look into. But equally, whether or not I could charge if I had wanted to. So it's the can I charge or can't I? I think I might turn that into a game show. Have a can I charge or can't I? Maybe not. So yeah, whether or not I can charge there or not. There are also Tesla superchargers there. I think there's about 24 of those. It's like loads. But they're not open to the general public. They're at Tesla only. So, well, obviously the general public that own Tesla, but we're not open to all EVs. They're only open to Tesla EVs at this point. Around the UK, there are some that are open to all, and there are some that are Tesla only. You just have to work it out or look on the Tesla app just to find out which are which. So it'll be interesting to see how many chargers are available and whether I could have charged if I'd wanted to on this Thursday morning. So it's 8 o'clock now on a Thursday morning, so it's kind of coming towards morning rush hour. This is one of the times when you'd think it might be quite busy. Although in the evening between 4 and 8 is definitely the busiest time for charge points on a weekday. Now we're coming to the end of the A14. It's a little bit busy. Not as busy as it used to be when 15 years ago or so, when I was still a similar sort of job, travelling for work. You're coming down this way because there was a roundabout at the end, or a set of roundabouts. I think it was 2 roundabouts. Everything used to slow right down, and you'd just be queuing along here for ages, trying to get through this junction with the M1 and the M6. But now they've rebuilt it and it's much better. So if you're wanting M1 north, you can come off at this next junction off. If you want M1 south or the M6, you can go over the new flyover, I guess. So you might be able to see the roads in the distance there, all crossing over each other, traffic on the other levels of road as we approach. Oh no, there is no M1 south. It's M6 straight on and M1 north to the left. I guess south you wouldn't be coming this way. You'd have turned off already. Maybe. Or maybe you can go up to another junction back on yourself and south if you need to. Anyway, this is the bit to the M6, which is what I want. So that'll be the M1 crossing over us at the moment. And that will be the flyover from the M6 south onto the M1 south. And then this joining us from the left is the M1 north joining the M6 north. Still a bit slow, can't do my 70 that I was hoping to be doing. Obviously traffic slows you down no matter what speed you want to be doing. Whether you're a tootler, a Sunday driver, or if you're liking to hammer it, if there's traffic in the way, not much you can do about it. There's a sign for Rugby services. That's where I'm going to pop and see whether I can get a charge point. I'm not actually going to get a charge point. I don't need to charge, like I mentioned. I've still got 85%, so I'll probably be getting there with 84-85%. We're only a mile away, depending on whether it ticks over to the next digit or not. Car says there's going to be four stalls available out of 12, so that's 8 in use, so more in use than not. 2/3 capacity, if you want to put it that way. It'll be interesting to see exactly what the situation is. Let's just overtake this lorry. Oh, there's loads of lorries, a whole stream of lorries now I've pulled out. Maybe just this one that I overtake. So I'm going to need to get in to be able to come off here. Indicate off, following this St Leon estate. I had one of those. Before I moved to EV, my last car was a St Leon estate FR, like that. Mine was white. I had the DSG 7-speed semi-auto gearbox, the upgraded alloys, the panoramic sunroof, and the dynamic chassis control, which was all good. It was a nice car. It's funny, I went for the Eco TSI engine because with the mileage I was doing, well, still do, I just couldn't warrant going for the bigger engine. The fuel economy would have been just too much. Would have hit me to be able to gain that sort of speed and acceleration. But now, of course, I have an electric car and I get all that. I can pull away very rapid. Well ahead of the lorries. But not quick enough to get through the next set of lights. Darn. That was a pain. Do you reckon I could have had those? Do you reckon I should have just floored it and gone through? Never sure. Okay, here we go. And we are green. So, following this round to the left, there was an electric Mercedes there coming out. I wonder if he's vacated one of the spots. Guessing straight on to the car park. Ooh, a whole load of roadworks. Wonder if they're putting even more electric charge points in. Would be good if they are, because they are very popular. Electric car charging to the right is on the sign. Here we go. Yeah, there we go. So here are some Teslas. If I go around this way, here are some more Teslas. And then the grid serves that I'm looking for are here. So what we've got free. So we have, well, that one's out of service. So is that one actually? So are those two? Oh dear, that's poor grid serve. So we've got 1, 2, 3. So there are 3 available. And now I've got to exit this way. That was a mistake. Why did I do that? I don't want to exit. I want to go round again. If I can nip this way, nothing's coming, is it? Yeah, that's not what I'm supposed to be doing, but I wasn't going to go round all the way back out to the motorway roundabout and back round again. That was just silly. So it looks like there's 3 available. And there were several broken, which is disappointing. Very disappointing grid serve. But at least I could still charge. There were some that were available. However, my sat-nav told me 4 and it was actually 3. So we weren't quite aligned in that respect. I'll take this space here, I think, while I go and get coffee. And I'll catch up with you all later. Hello and welcome back. So I'm on my way home. Didn't catch the part of the journey all the way to St Helens. Also didn't catch the charging. On the way back, stopped at Sandbach Services, stopped at the grid serve chargers. There's 6 there. It was quite busy, but there was a couple free. So I stopped at one of those and plugged in for 6 minutes and 23 seconds. That tells you that accurately on the screen. When I come back, obviously there's a bit of extra time for actually getting into the car park and plugging in and swiping your card and things like that. So call it 10 minutes. So 10-minute stop, 22 kilowatt hours into the battery, enough to complete my journey, which I am on my way back. I have probably 35 miles to go by the looks of it, according to my sat nav. So that will be, I think it works out as 342 miles in total round this way on the motorway route. So yeah, all is good at the moment. Although there is a Range Rover other side of the car park at the moment who is parked like well, let's just say he's not done very good parking, and he's blatantly obviously taken up 2 spaces because he thinks his car is worth something. Unfortunately, it just looks like a black cab to me. But hey, you'll see that when I move the screen round. So now, no doubt you can see that Range Rover there. As I say, he thinks he's got a cool car. To the rest of us, it just looks like a black cab. But there you go, you get plenty of them in London. You call them up, call them over and pay a bit of cash and they'll take you anywhere you want. So, find my way out of these services. I just stopped McDonald's there for a coffee quickly, and then, well, to the toilet really. guy seems to be slowing, so I'll accelerate, get ahead in front of him. No problem at all. So I don't know much for certain until I look at the data, until I look at kind of how long it's taken me to do this route. But I don't think I've really gained anything doing this route over my direct route across the country through the back roads. I did have to pay for the M6 toll. So shortly after Rugby services on the M6, I hit traffic. There was a broken down, or I think it was an accident. There was certainly a car facing the wrong way in the left lane on the M6, and that caused quite a lot of delays. So I was already running a bit late, even by using the M6 toll, so I had to take the toll really. On the way back, I didn't take the toll road, took the normal M6 across Birmingham, and it was a bit slow. The sat-nav said it would be about 11 minutes longer than taking the toll road. Now, for me, 11 minutes or kind of I think it's £7 or £8 now. Well, I'm happy to take the 11-minute hit over paying £7 or £8, to be honest. So I went the normal M6 way on the way back. But yeah, lots of traffic on the way, lots of traffic on the way home. It is a faster route if it is completely clear. So if you were doing it overnight, like 2 in the morning, then yeah, the motorway route would definitely be the faster route. I mean, they'll both be quicker at that time of night, but you'll be able to go full speed on the motorways and whip round nice and quickly. Whereas cutting across the country, using the back roads through kind of Melton and on towards Stoke on the A50, it's a bit trickier, a bit slower, but you don't get the big queues, and you're not. I know, okay, this morning there was an accident on the M6, but it's not uncommon to get accidents and breakdowns and lane closures and so on the motorways. It's actually quite common. So, and particularly on that section of M6 round through up to and through Birmingham and past the M5 junction and so on. So you can't kind of call that a one-off. That's kind of, it does happen. It does happen fairly frequently. In terms of charging, so when I pulled into Rugby services to have a look earlier, I was quite disappointed by the number of GridServe chargers there that were out of action. It's quite a new services, but I've seen those units before, the charge units. They're not the best. They're the ones that Shell Recharge use as well there. I don't know which brand they are, I'm not up on the brands particularly, but they're not a good unit, those ones, I don't think. The GridServe chargers where I stopped to charge on the way back for a short time, the ones at Sandbach services, they're much more reliable, in my opinion. And I found that fine. I just pulled in, plugged in, had a quick stretch of the legs. 10 minutes later I was off. My car's predicting now that I'll get home with around 15% battery left, which is perfect. Gives me a little bit of extra leeway in case I need to divert, or in case there's any reason that I end up using more than expected. But it doesn't leave me with loads of excess that I didn't need to buy. Which of course is, if you've got home charging like I do, that's the key thing when you're on the road, is to do a quick volt and bolt just to get enough to get you home, plus a small buffer, because you don't want to be spending excess amounts of money on rapid charge energy when you can get it so much cheaper at home. So when I pulled into Sandbach, I had 35% battery. I told the car to charge up to 60%. In the car, in the Kia EV6, you can give it charge limits. So I was able to tell it, set my DC charge limit to 60%. And then I knew that even if I was waylaid or I didn't get back to the car, it would stop. So it stopped, sent a notification to my phone, which in turn sent a notification to my watch. I have a Garmin watch, Garmin Venue 3. So my watch buzzed on my wrist. I knew then that the car had finished charging. I was able just to kind of go back out to the car park and get on my way. All is good. I can see the turbines are spinning still. So they were spinning this morning when I passed. They're spinning now too, even though it's not a particularly windy day. So good green energy going into the grid there. Nice to see. Right, so A14 heading towards Huntingdon. On the way down here, or on the way out, I took the A605 to cut from the A1 down to the A14. So Peterborough down towards, well, the A14 to head towards Birmingham direction. As you will have seen on the video, the speeded up section of the video, on the way down, there was quite a lot of traffic. I got stuck behind some trucks, well, trucks with vans that were delivery vans, and it kind of goes through a few roundabouts, and then there was a queue at the end. So not the ideal route to connect to the A14 and the A1 together. If you go all the way down the A1 to Huntingdon and then across, that adds quite a lot of extra journey distance. May save you a little bit of time, but it's not great because you're kind of going down south and then going west, whereas you want to really be going southwest. So the alternative to both of those is the B660. So the B660. It's a small road. You need to know where you're going because it's not just a continuous road. You have to kind of turn here and so on. It takes you through a couple of little villages, so I'm sure the people in the villages don't particularly want a lot of traffic heading that way. But it is quite a nice little cut through. So that's what I'm going to take next. So we're on the A14 at the moment. We've passed the 605 junction, which is what you would typically take to Peterborough if you're coming from Birmingham direction. And we've carried on the A14, but we're not going all the way to Huntingdon. Instead, we're turning off on the B660, which is in 1.5 miles, apparently. So we've got time to... Oh, that's an interesting car. I don't see that very often. Must be an import, left-hand drive. That's come over from the US. Don't know what it is. It said Ford on it, so it's obviously a Ford of some kind. Nice to have an open top. So yeah, get past that lorry. A little bit of traffic. And we should shortly be turning on to the B660. In fact, I can see up ahead there's a pub on the right hand side. You can just about see it's up near there. So I've got time to get past a couple more lorries and a couple of caravans. Well, caravan. Past this one, this is Ewell's Cargo Care. And yes, this is the turn here. So it's signposted RAF Molesworth, Kimbolton and Old Weston. And Hamerton Wildlife Centre. This is more of a driver's road, this is more of a fun road. And that was the B660. A good cut through from the A14 to the A1 as an alternative to the A605. You're far less likely to get stuck behind something. A lot less traffic, certainly won't find any queues. You have to go a bit further along the A14 to get to it, and it doesn't take you quite so far up the A1. So if you're heading A14 eastbound and then you're heading A1 northbound, going up to Lincoln or something from Birmingham, then it doesn't cut off the corner quite as much as the 605. But at busy times it will be probably a smoother journey through. But as I hope you noticed as well, it's a great road. It's at the beginning there, as I started the camera into warp speed, I've spotted several motorcyclists coming the other way. They're obviously having fun on that sort of road as well. I don't know if they took the exact same route, of course, but it's both scenic but also fun to drive as well. Lots of twisty corners, ups and downs, bends. Just the sort of thing you want for a driving experience, or a car that you can really push. Okay, so I'm driving a Kia EV6. It's not a sports car, but it holds its own. It's got a decent bit of acceleration, and you can throw it around a fair amount, especially for such a big car. So it's still fun, although obviously it'd be more fun in something a bit more fun. But you've got to make these compromises when you've got a family and a job and you need to do other things with your car. You can't just have a sports car, you need it for other things as well. That's what you have to put up with sometimes. Yeah, I hope you enjoyed that that little section. Okay, so pretty much home now. I've got a couple of miles left. Car says I'll get home with 14% remaining, currently 15%. So that'll be the way, of course. That's how it is. So I'm going to end the video here. It's been a good drive, nice weather, nice blue skies, not all the time but most of the time, up to St Helens and back via the motorway route, so putting quite a lot of extra miles onto the journey. So 242 miles rather than 342 miles rather than the 293 I did when I went more direct. So you're adding about 20 miles each way, so 40 miles in total. And of course it involved needing to have a quick volt and bolt on the way back at the services. I only needed to put in, what was it, 35% to 60%, so I only needed to put in 25% onto the battery, so it only took 10 minutes. Well, 6 minutes, 10 minutes if you include the actual having to stop and so on. So I wouldn't say I would avoid that route because of the need to stop, but I might avoid that route and go the other way because of the extra distance, and also the fact that you can end up in some really sticky traffic on the M6 around Birmingham. So although it's a faster route in the evening or overnight, it's not quite so fast when it comes to kind of the rush hour, daytime, that sort of stuff. So yeah, and then of course this way, 660, B660, much better than taking the A605 where you're cutting through from the A1 to the A14. So there you go. So I hope you've enjoyed it. It's been a good journey. All is good.